Whew, survived that one. Now we just got to get through the rest. Great intro. I wanted to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from before we jump into this, but this presentation today is about action. So we talked about AI and technology and stuff like that. First and foremost, I did spend 12 years as a conservation biologist. I got paid to go camping. It was pretty awesome. Then I went into management and ended up at the federal government. So I had a pretty sweet gig, actually. 6 figures, 8 weeks vacation. I worked in a cement box that I commuted an hour and a half each way, each day on TTC for 10 fucking years. Not dead. But what I did do is I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. And I wanted to do something completely different. So I did a complete 360, quit my job, haven't had a salary since, but I'm doing something really amazing. Now I get to help people like you guys create and make cool things. So I quit my job, and I decided I was just going to spend the summer doing nothing. And my partner in life, my partner in crime, has a company called Jello Skins, and we are transitioning into Nuvango. Oh, can you hear me now? All right, this guy over here. Yeah, so I transitioned, and we started Nuvango, and that's when I quit my job, and I jumped on board, and I decided, like, I'll just volunteer for a day. That was 3 years ago. So today, what I wanted to talk about is getting from having a product idea, getting it to market, selling it, and making your first sale all within 24 hours. So we're going to talk today about having your own creative business, selling a tangible product. So retro, right? Everyone's talking about AI, apps, all that jazz. I want to talk about like things you can touch and feel. So there's a lot of things to think about. This is my wall of words to create anxiety, by the way. So I hope you guys are all feeling a little anxious and scared. Basically, you have to come up with the idea. What product would you make? You're a creative, maybe you're an illustrator. Do you make a 3D product? Do you make a book? Would people even like it? Would you be able to sell it? How would you sell it? How would you ship it? Who would make it? Who are the people participating in this whole big idea of yours? Again, do people even want to buy it? Do people even like your idea? These are all the really fun, scary things you got to think about when you're an entrepreneur. And then you got to think about the other things like supply chain, sustainability. So is what you're making just going to make a bunch of waste and garbage? Then you think about inventory management. This usually comes a little bit later because you're trying to create a product to sample and someone says, nah, we don't really do small runs. You have to buy 1,000 of that. Or maybe you have to buy 100,000 of that. So these are the money things you start thinking about. And then you have the added benefit of thinking about distribution. So are you going to ship your product? How heavy is it? Do you know what your harmonized code is for shipping? Commercial invoicing? Yeah, and are you going to just ship local or international? This starts creating like a lot of barriers for a lot of people. So a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people that really want to get their side hustle going, you're a little bit crazy. You're the person who's doing something that people are like, dude, you've got a really good job. You're a designer, you went to school for design. Do you really want to write that children's book and try to sell that book? So you're going to run up against other barriers, and those barriers combined with all of those questions you just had, it starts adding up and running around in your brain. And for me, these are some of the big questions because I come from conservation and sustainability. So I start thinking about who is actually making my products? Who are these people? Is it fair? Are they getting a fair wages? Are they safe? This is not a bad photo. This is just a different kind of factory, different kind of people. So we see factory photos all the time. This traditional model works for a lot of things. I've been to Shenzhen where I've seen them making Apple earbuds. I've talked to the employees, they're having a good time. This is just another type of factory, another type of work. These could be the people making your product. Or this could be the person you're making your product. This is Maria. She's in our factory in the Junction. We'll talk a little bit about Notion in a moment. But yeah, this is a space I spend pretty much all of my time. It's a reclaimed macaroni factory, so if you come to visit, we did some renos, and you take down the wall, and there was little bits of macaroni and signs everywhere, so we kept a couple up. So if you come see me, you'll see our little macaroni factory. But this is a different style of work, a different style of factory, somebody that could be making your product. This is where I tell you and me to have a deep breath. I've had 3 coffees today, so. So all of this is possible. Going from product to sale, all very possible. By the end of this talk today, you'll be able to do your business, your side hustle, potentially if it's a product, and get it online and start selling and have your first sale tomorrow. So some of the manufacturing hurdles and solutions. The big things you gotta think about is, what are you trying to make? Who's gonna make it? And are you looking at small samples beforehand, or do you care if you get a sample? A lot of people, you can just work without getting an actual sample, and you can work with a rendering. What is your personal proximity to the factories? So is the factory that's making your product close by or far away? Just some of these questions that you're gonna wanna answer. I think one of the scariest things when you're thinking about manufacturing is, and this is my conservation biologist talking, is the waste in the landfills. But it's also about guessing what's popular. So if you're under a traditional model, you'll have to buy a couple, maybe a couple hundred, or even just like 10 of a product. So if you have a design that you think's really beautiful, and you put 2 or 3 of them up online, or maybe you're trying to sell them at a design fair or something, and you're like, I'm gonna get 50 of those, 10 of those prints, and 15 of those prints. And you got 50 of that print number A because you love it and you think it's amazing, and you sell 1. What are you gonna do with the other 49? So this is some of the stuff, some of the manufacturing hurdles and solutions, some of the hurdles, and we'll jump into the solutions. But those are some of the scary things that you're thinking about. Sitting on that inventory is lost money. That's a risk. So on-demand manufacturing, this is a new tool. So today, it's not brand new, but it's a newer tool. We've been talking about different ways to work. And on-demand manufacturing is a tool in your toolkit today that you'll be able to bring home with you, in that you're now producing on demand. So for example, you sell this iPhone case with your art. This is Audrey Kawasaki, but let's all pretend we're as good as she is. You sell this case on your website. You're charged $17 for this case. You've never touched it before. You don't have this at home. You have it on a website. This is a product that you want to sell. You charge $35 for it. It's never been created before. Your customer buys it. Your margin is the difference of 35 minus 17. That's all yours. And when your on-demand fulfillment producer is asking you to pay for this, you've already received the money from your customer. So we're going to talk about the bigger details around that. But on-demand manufacturing just basically means there's no waste, there's no inventory needed, and it's typically combined fulfillment. So someone is producing for you, but they're also doing all your shipping and fulfillment. So you don't have to think about any of that. You can be a creative. You can just keep creating. You are responsible for a couple other things, which I'll tell you about later in a moment. So I'm not going to deep dive these too much. I threw up the website so everyone can look them up. But these are some of your options. And these are groups that actually have public APIs that you can go out and get. This is shapeways.com. So when I was working on this presentation around Christmas, I was just thinking about it. I was like, oh, you could have your geometric Christmas ornament website all set up. So you send them the rendering. Shapeways actually creates it on demand just for you and will make you just one. Or it'll make your customer just one. So that's one of your options if you're looking to do different things with your prints and designs and turn them into 3D goods that people can touch or throw around a room or put on their Christmas tree. ingramspark.com. So let's say you're a designer that's really into fonts or an illustrator. This is an option for you for on-demand books. So tangible books. I think this room is full of people probably similar to me in that you really like a book. I like touching a book. Kindles just don't do it for me. This is your option to break out into the book business. You don't need a publisher. You don't need anyone to help you. You could do this tonight. Just throw your stuff together and stop sitting there and waiting. You could get your book gone tomorrow. Printful. This is another option for you. They're based out of North Carolina. They're an on-demand fulfillment tool. They do t-shirts, they do pillows, they do coffee mugs. So you can print and design just for yourself, or you could plug this tool into your website and they can start producing and making and fulfilling for you tomorrow. So if you have an NGO or maybe you're doing a fundraising campaign, you come up with your creative content, you build a website, and your customers can start buying your products for your fundraising campaign tomorrow. So this is me, or us, Notion.ca. We're in the Junction. I would love for you to visit. My information will be at the last slide. But basically, we're a work in progress. Our two house brands are Jelliskins and Nuvango. So Jelliskins top, Nuvango here. Jelliskins is a tech accessory brand. We work with artists from all over the world and put their beautiful images on tech accessories, and Nuvango is a fashion lifestyle brand. We do all of this in-house. We're a vertically integrated studio, so we cut, print, sew, do all of the things. But what we also do is we plug into artists' sites, artists like Hate Copy. So this artist doesn't actually hold any inventory. She doesn't carry any physical goods. She sells all of these products on her website, and ourselves and another partner do all the manufacturing fulfillment. So as soon as a customer buys that pillow and the customer checks out of the website, we get pinged with the order here in Toronto. And we start manufacturing, fulfilling, and distributing. So this means the artist can just focus. They can focus on their creative, they can focus on all their marketing. Cal Shobe, he's another artist of ours. So on the top left, it says work. That's where he sells all of his original work. And then these are all the different things we manufacture for him. So if you're a customer of Cal Shobe, you're buying off his site, we do all the manufacturing, all the fulfillment, and all he has done is come up with the creative content. So we're in the Junction. We'd love you to visit. This is my partner in crime over here. These are some of our wonderful sewists down in the corner. Presentation's not done yet because all I've done so far is tell you how to manufacture and power your site, but you also have to figure out what site to use and how to sell it. So I have a minute and a half left. This is where we're going to spend a little bit of time. The tools available to you are as close as your own backyard. Shopify's here in Toronto. You might even be sick of hearing about them. But I love them. They're a great tool. All of our artists that we're working with right now, we have bands, brands, and creatives like yourself working with Notion, and we plug into Shopify sites using an API. So the technology and tools available now make it easy for someone with a Shopify store to plug in manufacturing tools to make their products come to life without the creative ever having to buy a single sample or product. Combine that with Shopify's apps and tools for Facebook, MailChimp, Google Analytics. All of these things combined are there to make your life easier so you can get your store online and start selling tomorrow. So now you can take your creative, build a tangible product, buy a sample. You don't have to. I think it's kind of fun when people buy a sample and throw it up on Instagram and try to promote people to support your art. You would build a Shopify store. You'd plug it into manufacturing API. So if you're planning on building that book of yours, you can get on Ingram Spark tomorrow and start building. And as soon as you start doing this, you've taken the first step to your side hustle and supporting some of the creative endeavors that you want to do. And the best part is you don't need a team of 100 people. You can do this by yourself. You can go home tonight, get your free Shopify trial, start plugging in different tools and apps and lay out your creative, whether it's an image on a t-shirt or start building your book. And you wouldn't have had to take any risk in buying inventory, any risk in hiring a team. You already get to take the tried and tested route of all these fulfillment options provided by your manufacturer. And for the most part, you can just do it by yourself or maybe one of your friends. So I think as you sit here today, I'm really hoping that some people are like, oh shit, I've had this idea forever. I don't even have to tell my family that I'm doing this. I can throw it online and start selling tomorrow. And then you have proof of concept, and then you could tell people. And if it's a total flop, nobody knows. So for me, I really felt like when I was asked to give a talk today that, I don't know, the work of the future, the job of the future combined with all of these tools is probably just a job that you create for yourself. And that's it. Thanks for having me.